Chris, there's another angle to this too.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do a little pop-up draft. We're gonna do the show way out of order today. We're gonna draft the Deebo Samuel destinations for 2022.
Whoa.
This segment,
Look at
baby.
this.
We're
Matt
not messing
Casey
around
comes
today.
in to produce the show, and he just changes stuff up. Okay, all right, here we go.
But okay, the first team I thought of was the New York Jets. And if it's not a usage issue, the Jets make sense because they would probably use them the same way the 49ers did because you got a lot of DNA from the 49ers coaching staff on the New York Jets, starting with Robert Saleh, the head coach, starting with Mike LaFleur, the offensive coordinator. So they may use him the exact same way if they would get him, but they already had the wallet out and open to get Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
They were ready to trade for Tyreek Hill. They were the finalists that did not get Tyreek Hill. So they're the first one I think of. But here's something to think about as we sit 1 week away from the draft.
Yeah.
If you are the 49ers.
Right.
And we won't know this until it happens. What you don't do right now, if you're the 49ers, you don't trade him to the Jets right now for the 10th overall pick in the draft. Here's why. Because once you acquire that pick, everybody behind you knows you have that pick. And they can start plotting if they want a receiver that they think the 49ers would take in that spot, or whoever they think the 49ers would take. They start playing the guessing game, and they try to jump the 49ers. It changes the dynamics of the top 10 because now you've got a different team with different needs, with different objectives, with different team structure there. There's no reason to acquire that pick before it's on the clock, this close to the draft. So my point is, everything may go completely quiet.
Yeah.
And we may hear absolutely nothing at all.
Yes.
Until the Jets are on the clock and the commissioner walks out, gets booed, tells the world that there's been a trade. The 49ers now have the 10th overall pick in the draft. And then we find out in the aftermath of that they've traded Deebo Samuel to the Jets. That's the smart way to do it if you're the 49ers. You do not want whatever pick you would get in round one of this year's draft from whichever team, you do not want that pick until that pick is on the clock.
Yeah, it does make sense. It does. I mean, you're right, especially if you get to that point and then you have some players that you have pinned or picked out to where you go, oh, wait, these one or two guys, we really love them, and we believe that at least one, maybe both, will be there at 10, then you do want to keep it quiet. Now, the other side of the story is you might just want to get it done, get it over with, so you can use the draft to really address and really know what you're going to do, and also just get the 10th pick and go, who knows? Maybe they might go, hey, we're open for business, and you can flip it around for another first-round pick or something like that if they deem it, wait, we don't really have anybody at 10 that fits what we need on our team. It can go a lot of different ways here. There's no doubt, and your way, I'm not saying wrong, Mike. We're
so close. We're so close now to the draft.
Right.
They can do the deal with the Jets.
Yeah.
They can trust Robert Saleh and Mike LaFleur to keep their mouths shut about it.
Right.
And they can do the Belichick thing. Hey, if this comes out, we're just not doing it. If this comes out, if it gets out, we're just not doing it.
Right.
And people will say, well, wait a minute. Last year they traded up to number 3 a month before the draft, but they already knew who the first 2 picks were.
Exactly.
They knew they were getting their selection of the board after Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson.
Right.
Oh, and if one of those 2 guys was available, they would gladly take them instead. So they were basically stepping into a spot where they weren't going to be jumped for someone they would have taken with number 3. They're not going to get that guarantee at number 10 if they would do a deal with the Jets.
No, they definitely would not. You're right. So that's where they're going to have to figure it out. I mean, this is we know this is a big thing, but where it's a big thing really inside of a building too is, yes, I would think Shanahan and Lynch are all of a sudden like, whoa, wait, we didn't even think of a contingency plan that this was going to happen. And now that can change with your thought process and what you're going to do in the draft, to where you might not have evaluated certain positions as highly or scrutinized every guy the same way, because you go, hey, we're good at that position. I'm not worried about like those top few guys because, we're looking for down the line guys here. I got Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, right? So now where you start to go, oh, no, we got to get back and like we might have to look at some of the top receivers
just like
in the draft.
2017.
Exactly.
Remember 2017?
Yeah.
Didn't look at Patrick Mahomes, didn't look at Deshaun Watson. Why? Well, we're getting Kirk Cousins next year, unless we don't.
So, I mean, exactly. So now, yes, that's the boat they could be in here too, is where you're a little bit like, whoa, we got to figure out our new plan of attack here in case this happens or that happens. And, there's just so many different scenarios, and I think we've laid out a few of them. That's going to change the 49ers' approach here and how they think about the draft as well.
Let's take a look at the PointsBet odds as to the teams that are among the betting favorites to get Deebo Samuel. The Jets at the top, plus 300, 3-1. Then you've got three teams at 4-1, Packers, Saints, and Eagles. Colts, 5-1. Chiefs, 6-1. They stand out to me as a pretty good bet, I think. I think they're far more likely than the Packers to do this. I don't know why the Packers keep showing up as the favorites to do this. This is not in the Packers' DNA to do this. They would have kept Davante Adams. Oh, but they would have paid him more than the Raiders. Get out of here with that. They could have paid him back in November or December if they really wanted to keep him. That is face-saving, fan-placating BS that they would have paid Davante Adams more than the Raiders once the gun was to their head and he wanted to leave. They surely knew he wanted to leave, and they were going to get him to leave or let him leave when they offered that, so they could say, we tried. Don't get mad at us. We tried. Hey, Aaron, we tried. You waited too long. I don't see them giving up major resources. And why would the 49ers trade Deebo Samuel to the Green Bay Packers?
That's where it's, definitely. I mean, again, that's still the rival or the team they're going to look at to go, wait, that's one of the few teams in the conference that we look at that could knock us off our perch of being one of the best teams in the NFC. So, yeah, there's no way. I mean, there's no way Deebo gets traded to Green Bay. Green Bay doesn't do that, for one, and then – like, if you're going to trade him to Green Bay and you're the 49ers, that's an extra price. I mean, it's almost like an extra first-rounder you got to throw in the top. We're going to give him to you, our rival, a team we might see in the playoffs. You got to throw in, like, extra pick than compared to everybody else. I mean, that's what that would be. So the rest of these teams are interesting, certainly. I think, I look at, like, the Jets as being the leader for sure. The Eagles, they got the picks. They can make the move. If they wanted to, I mean, it certainly would fit. Jalen Hurts, running quarterback. I mean, they can almost get into the Trey Lance offense and do all that already right now. So I know we have a draft coming up. I don't want to give it up, but it's going to be interesting.
Let's do our draft.
Yeah.
Interesting comment, though, yesterday from Howie Roseman about the Eagles. He was asked about this trend toward paying receivers big money because, obviously, if you would trade for Deebo Samuel, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
And he said something along the lines of, if you start going along with what everyone else is doing, you end up being a middle-of-the-pack team. The challenge is finding your own path and your own way. And it made me think they're not going to be in for Deebo Samuel. So, or it's all a misdirection. But it was an intriguing way of phrasing it. The idea that once you start following what everyone else is doing, you are asking to be 9-8 or 8-9. You have to find your way of doing things that's different from what everyone else is doing. All right, so let's do our draft. Go ahead. You take the first pick as to the potential Deebo Samuel destinations. Next team for which he takes a snap. Next team, any of the 32 teams, you're up first.
Well, I'm going to go with the Jets first. I am. I mean, it's just too obvious. I mean, for the reasons we've already discussed. I mean, the Tyreek Hill, the interest there, everything we heard, they were willing to do just what Miami did basically to get him. Now you got, Deebo Samuel. It's the same guy, except you have really more inside knowledge, and, of course, Deebo's younger. So the Jets, that for sure makes sense. I feel like it's not even fair for me to take them first, but I'll take it.
All right, I'm going to, and you're not going to like this, but again, I phrased it this way just for this purpose, and I'm surprised they're not listed on the board. But the next team he takes a snap for, I believe, under these unique circumstances, is going to be the 49ers. I think Kyle Shanahan is going to do and say whatever he has to say and do to get Deebo Samuel to stay put for at least one more year. So I think he plays for the 49ers this year, even though he's asked to be traded.
Okay, all right. That's a good one. Killer of fun with the draft there and sticking with the 49ers, but that's okay. We'll deal with it. I hear you there. I think that is not – I don't look at that as being – like out of the realm of possibilities, at least from what I know as of yet. We knew that they loved each other at some point here, not so far in the recent past. And then Shanahan's ability to talk people off a ledge, I don't think you're crazy for that. Next one I will go to here is I'm going to go with the Colts. Colts team looking like, I don't know if Chris Ballard would make this type of move, but they are in need, I think, of a big-time, like, offensive weapon, somebody else that scares you. They got a lot of good. We know that. They got an awesome running back. You couple this guy, along with Jonathan Taylor, and then, yes, Michael Pittman Jr. and all that, that would be a hell of an offense. It would certainly improve their team.
The Colts really could use the help when you look at who they have at receiver, and that would be something. You match him up with Matt Ryan and the defense that they're trying to improve, and they've added Stephon Gilmore, and they've got the former 49er teammate DeForest Buckner on the defensive line, even though they only crossed paths for maybe 1 year, if that. Was it 1 year? Yeah, it was 2019.
Yeah, that's right.
So, that makes a lot of sense. Next one for me,
There's like some teams that you look at it and you go, they have a need, but I don't know if they can do it. They have so many holes, and they're like, it's an interesting process here.
How about this? How about this?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, do you have an asset that you can trade back to the 49ers that can help fill the void? I don't know how Juju Smith-Schuster or Marquez Valdez-Scantling would feel about being traded on the way in the door with the Chiefs, but I kind of like the idea of the Chiefs saying, hang on a second, hang on. We added these two guys. Hang on. Deebo Samuel, Juju, we can get Deebo. And maybe Juju Smith-Schuster can be talked into embracing the opportunity to play for the 49ers, and that would be a way for them to just add someone who – it's not that you're going to have Juju Smith-Schuster taking handoffs between the tackles, but it's kind of that same mentality. The underneath, hard-nosed, get him the ball, let him do things. I feel like the Chiefs, so much more than the Packers.
Yes.
Even though they've both done the same thing, I feel like the Chiefs would be tempted to do something with Deebo Samuel because they're getting him year 4, and because I think that the Chiefs had reached their lifetime limit of dealing with Tyreek Hill after 7 seasons together. It was time to take the picks and avoid spending the money. I think they'd be more inclined to spend the money on Deebo Samuel, so I'll go Chiefs.
I like that pick. It was going to be my next pick. It was. Let alone, am I wrong? The Chiefs have 4 first-round picks over the next 2 years, right? Or am I wrong? Is it 4 or is it 3? 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks maybe? I got to look it up. I'm sorry, I should have done that. But they got a lot of picks to play with, too. Forget the players. They have done business before, too. With D Ford getting traded, to the 49ers when Shanahan got there and everything.
2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s this year.
Okay, so
they got the ammunition.
They got the ammunition to do it. There's no question. And I'm with you in the fact that it's a player that's young, right? He's not by age 30, so it's the second contract thing and how Kansas City does things. It fits everything. Let alone he's one of those players that you just. It makes sense in Kansas City. What? He's got 3 rockets up his ass and he can fly around the field? Well, sounds like a Kansas City guy to me. So I hear you there all the way. Next one I'll go to is the Bears. Like the Bears, we discussed this, 2 days ago? Are they going to do something to help Justin Fields out? And if this would be the kind of guy that would help him out. Again, it's the movement quarterback. That's where he can be so special. Quarterback can run this way and fake it to him. Quarterback can run this way and fake to somebody else. Oh, there's Deebo over the middle. Boom, he hits it. Hair's on fire, and he's flying around the field. That's where he can give you an issue with a mobile quarterback. So Bears are a team that needs it, and I could it would make sense.
Okay, next one for me, and they're not on the board either. I've taken 2 of my 3 picks that aren't on the PointsBet odds sheet. If there's something to this idea of not wanting to be in California, and he's from South Carolina, I know the Panthers are kind of set at the receiver position, but again, you could send someone to the 49ers out of your receiver room and bring Deebo Samuel to Charlotte. Get him close to home. That may be what he wants for all we know. So I'm going to put the Panthers on here to the extent to the extent now they don't have a second or third round draft pick this year, so they would have to put in. And I'm looking at DJ Moore's contract.
Well, yeah, or Robbie Anderson, somebody like that.
DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, they can do that.
Maybe they get Jimmy Garoppolo and take part of the contract on or something. I don't know. I mean, yeah.
What would Kyle think about, seriously, Sam Darnold for 1 year as the backup / maybe starter if Trey Lance gets injured instead of having Jimmy Garoppolo around? What would you think about that?
I don't know. I don't know exactly what Kyle's thoughts are of Sam Darnold. I can tell you just from, last year there was some rumors about Sam Darnold to the 49ers when Saleh got to the New York Jets. So that to me says a little something there. And Sam Darnold, I think you've heard this, but again, I know last year didn't help him. But before last year, a lot of people still looked at Sam Darnold, like you've discussed a few weeks ago. It just was the horrible situation he got put in, and it just wasn't easy. He was still viewed as kind of a talented guy. I do think his high-end talent is definitely better than Jimmy Garoppolo's. I do, but yeah, I don't know how Shanahan would feel about that. I really don't.
Okay, so let's do this trade to the Carolina Panthers for Deebo Samuel. It would be Deebo plus Jimmy Garoppolo to the Panthers for Robbie Anderson or DJ Moore plus Sam Darnold and picks from the Carolina Panthers.
Hey,
that's what it would be.
If it's something like that, yeah.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. That Carolina was on my list for sure. Atlanta's a team that would be on my list. That would have probably been my next pick because it's not far down the road.
That's a good one.
Right? And they have no receiver. And I go, well, damn, Arthur Smith just came from Tennessee and had A.J. Brown. This is A.J. Brown. There's the same type of guy, except I would say Deebo's slightly better. So, that's where Atlanta, I could see that being a factor too. Really, a lot of the NFC South teams I could see being a factor.
And he could play quarterback for the Falcons.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's got to be a factor in this too. Look, again, I don't know what his wish list is. If it's location and nothing else, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. But I'd like to think that there's a sweet spot of close to home, opportunity to win. We saw how devastated he was after the NFC Championship loss to the Rams. This is a guy who wants to win. He wants to compete. So I think he's going to be attracted to a situation where the quarterback is good enough to help him be as good as he can be from a team standpoint. But, the money's going to be part of it too. There's a lot of factors that go into this too. I think there's a lot of factors that cause him to not want to be with the 49ers, and there's going to be a lot of factors that attract him to his next team. But again, we're now conditioned to believe that players can ask out of where they are and land where they want to be. And it may not be that simple. No matter how good you are, not every team is going to acquiesce to that kind of an effort.
No, I think that's the thing here that it's a different time here. It came out of nowhere. We're close to the draft. You said it. Money's been spent already. There's a lot of chairs that have been filled already. They got a guy that, yes, this is rare in the fact that he's just hitting his prime here, and we're in this situation. I mean, it's just like the pinnacle of where he's at. Gonna want money. Shanahan and Lynch have put they expect and expect a lot from the guy. Shanahan drives a hard bargain. He's not going to let this kind of blue chip asset just go out the door easily. So you said it right. There's a lot of things that go into this. And that's why I think your pick of going 49ers, who he takes a snap with next year, is still very real because of all those things we just mentioned.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of work that needs to be done. Not that Kyle Shanahan doesn't have other things to worry about. It's the draft approaches. Now he's got to deal with how to get Deebo Samuel back to the point where he's willing to stick around with the team. But I cannot rule out the 49ers finding a way to fix this because they have every reason to come up with a way to keep Deebo Samuel around. And now, look, here we are. Again, a week before the draft, this is something that becomes the top story in the NFL, the top thing to monitor. Forget about Kyler Murray. Forget about anything else. Baker Mayfield, we're going to talk about him coming up. What happens with Deebo Samuel, what the 49ers say about it. I don't know what their schedule is for pre-draft press conferences, but this is the season of coaches and or general managers meeting with reporters, and I don't think John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan have done that yet. Could be something that happens in the next couple of days. I feel like we got to hear something from the 49ers at some point. You can't leave your fans hanging and hanging. You got to say something to fill that void from your perspective, even if it is a meaningless paragraph, word salad of how much we love Deebo Samuel and, we want him to stay here for the rest of his career, yada, yada, yada. And they don't comment on whether or not they're going to trade him. They don't comment on anything, but they just say something to fill the vacuum.
Well, yeah, maybe. But then maybe they're afraid of, the Florio stupid headline thing, but then it won't mess with it.
Sorry. Don't say something stupid and you won't get a stupid headline.
I'm just having fun with you. I know. I hear you. At
annoying.
Some point,
it's an annoying headline.
Annoying.
Not stupid.
Sorry, annoying. Florio's going to write some annoying headline. But, yeah, I would think at some point here they got to address it to soothe or smooth things over.
Either way. I have a feeling Kyle enjoyed the 420 holiday yesterday by necessity, not by desire.
Right,
yesterday was the perfect day. Yesterday was the perfect day to get some legal in California relaxation techniques at your local dispensary.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.